They threw a party in my building without asking, so I let their guests discover the truth. I never expected my own family to walk into my life like they owned everything I built, but maybe that's exactly why this story had to happen. My name is Aaron, and for years, I worked day and night to turn an old, decaying warehouse into a modern $2.3 million residential building with 4 luxury units and a rooftop deck that became my pride. I didn't inherit a single brick. I didn't share the deed with anyone. I signed every loan myself, took every risk alone, and survived every setback without a helping hand. But apparently, none of that mattered to my family the day they decided to turn it into their personal event space. It started on a Friday afternoon. I had just returned from a business meeting and planned to spend the evening quietly reviewing new rental applications. As I pulled into the parking lot, I heard loud music echoing through the building. At first, I thought maybe one of my tenants was celebrating. But when I walked in, my jaw nearly hit the floor. My mother, my sister, 2 uncles, and even some distant cousins were inside, carrying trays of food, decorating the lobby, and laughing as if it were their own home. They had balloons up, lights strung, and speakers blasting music that didn't belong in any lobby, let alone mine. There must have been at least 20 people already getting comfortable. I stood there for a whole minute before anyone noticed me. My cousin Mark turned and said, "Oh, hey Aaron, you're early. The party doesn't start for another hour." I blinked. "Party? What party?" My sister came over with a dismissive wave. "Don't make that face. Mom's hosting Aunt Clara's anniversary party here. Your building is perfect for events like this. You're lucky we chose it." Lucky. That was the word she used. I asked them calmly if they had my permission to host anything here. Of course, they didn't. They didn't even consider asking. My mother, without a hint of guilt, said, "Your family. Why would we need permission? This place is practically ours too." Every tenant was still at work, which they probably assumed made it harmless. What they didn't know was that I had recently installed quiet hours and strict guest rules because of ongoing maintenance and insurance requirements. A party like this could violate my building's policy and put me at risk of legal issues if something went wrong. I told them they needed to wrap up. They told me I needed to stop being dramatic. And the more I explained, the more they looked at me like I was being unreasonable, controlling, and ungrateful. That was the moment I stopped arguing. Because arguing would only convince them that they had some sort of equal claim in the first place. My mother patted my shoulder and said, "Relax. Just enjoy the party." She walked away before I could even respond. So I let the party happen. But not the way they imagined. I went upstairs to my office, checked the security cameras, and watched as more guests arrived, neighbors, friends of friends, people who didn't even know the building belonged to me. I waited until the lobby reached its fullest point. Then I casually walked back down with a clipboard in hand and the most polite smile I could manage. A woman approached me and asked where the bathrooms were. Instead of answering, I asked her, "Are you with the event group renting the space tonight?" She smiled and nodded. That was all I needed. "Perfect," I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Then I just need you to sign this liability form. Since this is a private building with residents, we require all guests at paid events to sign acknowledgement forms. Once we verify payment with the host, you'll be free to continue." There was a visible ripple of confusion. Paid event? Several people asked. I nodded. Yes, the standard rate is $6,000 for up to 4 hours. It includes access to the lobby and 1 restroom. Additional amenities cost extra. My family froze. My mother's face turned pale. My sister's mouth dropped open. My uncle stepped toward me and hissed, "What are you doing?" I shrugged. Just making sure everything is legal. If you're hosting an event in a private, insured residential building, you need to pay for it. Otherwise the guests are considered unauthorized, and I legally have to ask the police to clear them out. The guests stared awkwardly at my family. My mother stumbled over her words trying to explain that it wasn't a paid event, it was just a family gathering. But then a couple of guests, clearly not close family, began murmuring, asking whether they should leave, because they didn't want to get involved in anything illegal. Within minutes, the atmosphere collapsed. People apologized to me, saying they didn't realize this was someone's private property. One by one, they left. Some of them even gave my family judging looks on the way out. My family tried to salvage the situation, but the spell was broken. When the last guest walked out, my mother turned to me with watery eyes and said I embarrassed them. I told her, calmly, that they embarrassed themselves when they walked into my building assuming they owned it. And that was the reality check they needed. They cleaned up in silence. They left without arguing. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty for standing up for myself. Because I finally realized something. Respect isn't something people give you because you're family. It's something they give you because they know you won't let them cross your boundaries. My family tried hijacking my property again. This time my revenge was unforgettable. I thought the first incident would have been enough to teach them a lesson, but entitlement has a way of resurfacing in the people who believe blood gives them unlimited access to your life. 3 months passed after the anniversary party fiasco. My building was calm again, tenants were settled, and I thought things had finally reached stability. But entitlement breeds quietly, and my family, especially my sister and mother, had convinced themselves that the only reason the party went wrong was because I had embarrassed them in front of their guests. Not because they trespassed, not because they ignored boundaries, not because they treated my building like their inherited estate. No, in their minds, the blame was mine. So when they got the opportunity to invade my space again, they took it, this time with even more confidence. It was a Saturday morning when the chaos returned. I woke up to multiple text messages from tenants. There are people in the rooftop lounge. Did you approve an event today? Crowds going upstairs, looks like a party. My heart sank. I knew exactly who it was before stepping out of bed. When I checked the cameras, there they were, my mother, my sister, and a group of relatives climbing up the stairs with coolers, speakers, food trays, and decorations. But this time, they went straight past the lobby. They headed for the rooftop deck, the most expensive, carefully designed part of the building, something I built to attract high-end renters and justify premium pricing. And my own family was once again treating it like their private resort. I got dressed, walked upstairs, and found about 15 people setting up on the deck. My sister smiled when she saw me. Relax, she said, it's just a small reunion. No outsiders, just family, as if that erased the problem. As if property laws change depending on DNA. I asked them why they didn't ask for permission. My mother jumped in, sighing dramatically. You always make everything complicated. We're your family. Why do we need to ask? The same sentence, the same entitlement, but this time, they had gone even further. They had rented chairs from a vendor and brought a huge portable grill. The rooftop deck wasn't designed for open flames. One spark could damage the composite wood flooring and cost me thousands. Not to mention liability issues or potential complaints from tenants. I reminded them that this wasn't allowed. My sister rolled her eyes. Oh, stop. You're so controlling. No one's getting hurt. And then she added the sentence that flipped a switch inside me. Honestly, you should be grateful we're even using this place. It looks dead without us. Dead. A $2.3 million building that I designed, renovated, and built from scratch called dead by someone who had never contributed a dime. That was when I decided something. Talking wouldn't fix anything. Logic wouldn't fix anything. They needed an unforgettable reality check, one that didn't involve yelling, arguing, or humiliating. Something clean, something legal, and something they would feel deeply. I went back to my office downstairs, opened the management software, and typed a message. Important, please be aware that the rooftop deck is currently occupied without authorization. You are not obligated to tolerate noise or disruptions. Feel free to file a disturbance complaint through the portal for automatic processing. I knew exactly what would happen. Within 30 minutes, complaints started pouring in. Tenants who were already irritated from earlier texts now had an official channel to express their frustration. Noise complaints, unauthorized access complaints, fire hazard complaints. The system automatically logged each one, timestamped them, and forwarded them directly to the building's insurance and legal compliance service, a service I paid extra for. Within an hour, I received a call from the security company offering same-day dispatch to clear the unauthorized gathering. I accepted. Then I went upstairs. My family was laughing, eating, and acting like they owned the sky. My mother looked annoyed when she saw me. Now what? She asked. I simply said, in 10 minutes, building security will be here to clear the deck. You all need to leave peacefully. She laughed as if I was joking. My sister refused to believe it. My uncle muttered something about me being dramatic again. Then they saw the security team arrive, 2 uniformed officers, badges displayed, serious faces. Their laughter died instantly. The officers explained in professional, neutral voices that the rooftop deck was private property and that a complaint record had been triggered. They politely instructed the group to pack up and leave. And because this wasn't me telling them to go, this was uniformed authority, they didn't argue. They didn't shout. They didn't roll their eyes. They packed, slowly, silently, embarrassed. The grill had to be disassembled immediately. The chairs were removed. The decorations came down. The food trays were shoved into bags. And for the first time in my life, my family looked at me not like I was the overreacting relative, but like someone they finally had to take seriously. My mother approached me afterward and said, "You didn't have to go that far." And I replied, "I told you last time that you crossed boundaries. You did it again. Now the consequences aren't mine, they're yours." She didn't argue. She didn't blame. She didn't even sigh dramatically. She just nodded. That was the unforgettable part. For once, they understood. And from that day on, no one, not my mother, not my sister, not a single extended relative, has ever set foot inside my building without an invitation. Boundaries, when enforced properly, don't need to be shouted. Sometimes they just need to be experienced.